I talk to you?
Good point.
So Steve Jobs is dead. Steve Jobs is dead. He looks pretty active, healthy, robust, charismatic. And Stephen Hawking is still alive. I guess it pays to keep your mouth shut and do what you're told. That's amazing, eh? Smartest man alive. Holds all the answers about our universe and outer space and how it works. And he's also the least likely to go up in a rocket to check out his theories. Been a comedian for about 20 years. It's been a front. I'm a high-realist painter, photorealist painter. Worked for NASA on and off doing freelance graphics for about 20 years now. NASA. As you can see, we got a nice red serpent tongue coming through there. NASA. And there's the UN flag. Also the symbol of the flat earth. Oh, of course, if I say flat earth, I gotta be an idiot, right? That's what they told you, right? It's a ball. There's no Antarctica in this. It's a bird's eye over the North Pole. Right in your face. I know there's going to be some comedians making jokes tonight, but I want to talk about the joke that's on you. Leave the planet, go up and take a look at what it really looks like. Outer space. There it is. There's your world. You know when they took that? 1969. First lunar mission to the moon. You know, the first lunar mission to the moon wasn't so much about going to the moon. It was about having an event so you can go high enough to take a picture after 500 years to prove it was a ball. Space. There it is. Since you were a kid, you've seen this image. But you've never seen it from that point of view. You've never seen that with your eyes from that scale of a model, that point of view, from outside of the planet's surface. But yet your brain has three-dimensionalized, oh yeah, that's the Earth. How? Through repetition. Next image. How do we get to this point of the image? This is funny. I think this is funny. This is funny. Back in the 60s when they went to the moon, this is the first time we actually had like an instrument of flight to actually go high enough to actually check out if what we agreed to 500 years ago was real. So if they were wrong after 500 years, the question is, would they tell you? Here's like a perfect example of them landing on the moon. I mean, it's proof right there. This is an official NASA photo of the first Apollo 11 lunar module landing on the moon. I mean, it's right there. This is the proof, man. It's the picture's right there. It's landing on the moon. But the only problem I have with this picture is that it's taken from the moon. I don't know what the big deal was with being the first guy on the moon. It seems the camera crew was already there. The fucking tripod. Camera A, B, C. You know, back in the 60s, I mean, I know people who believe they saw the landing on the moon because they heard it on the radio.
Well, let's talk about this, because this is fascinating. I remember very clearly, I think anybody who was alive at the time does, I remember my parents waking me up and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you
was
didn't. No, you didn't.
What?
Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation.
So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
Yeah, I know.
Ethel, get in here. They're on the moon. I can hear the dust. My God, I can hear him walk. He's walking slow. There's zero gravity up there. Jesus, they're on there now. They're on there now. I could just see a guy in a sound studio just taking like a bag of salt going, landing on the wooden floor and just going, oh my God, they're there. They're on it right now. Ethel, get in here. Like, how would you know? There was no independent telescope to even like say they went to the moon. The only telescopes that could actually film it were NASA telescopes. Yeah, according to the people who landed on the moon, they landed on the moon. Nobody else could check it out. So there it is. That's a photo. There it is landing for the first time, but how?
That's how the flat earth started.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth?
Everybody, 99.99% of the population of this world is under the belief that they live in a infinite universe with ever-expanding galaxies. They're under the belief that they themselves evolved over billions of years from a single-celled amoeba. They're under their belief that everything was created from a big bang where nothing became everything, and somehow matter formed together to basically progress to the humans that we see today, and that you basically evolved from pond scum. Everybody just believes it. No one's just thinking about it, but it's a belief. It's an underlying, a foundational understanding that people hold unconsciously. Based off that belief, people behave in certain ways because most of our thoughts and actions and behaviors are based on the unconscious, stuff that exists below our conscious mind. Based on these beliefs, people behave and act in certain ways that makes them very malleable and subject to control. Because when you believe that everything came from a big bang, and when you believe that you evolved over billions of years from a single-celled amoeba, you have an understanding that there's really no God in that situation. There's no higher deity, okay? So why would they lie? I don't know. Because if they can trick you away from noticing the creation that, for me and people like me, is quite obvious, they can trick you away from understanding that there is a creator. That's why I think they lie. Other people could say other reasons. They could be including more land. But the flat earth has a particular reaction from people because everyone is already programmed to think it's the stupidest thing you could ever say. Oh, well, people used to think the earth was flat until we became smarter, until we learned. People are predisposed to think it's literally moronic. Now, we're walking around here being looked at as the morons. What we understand that most don't realize is the world is under a mass deception, a deception the likes of which are hard to comprehend. And to me, that's the biggest issue with understanding the lies of NASA, the lies of the globe, and embracing that we live in a level, horizontal world, is because most people cannot grasp the magnitude of the deception. So because they can't understand how or why such a huge deception could be perpetrated, they reject the evidence that shows that there are no proofs to the globe and heliocentric model, and indeed all proofs point to a level horizontal world in which oceans do not show curvature. Water lies level and flat when at rest. Everything they do is occulted, all of it. It's ritualistic. It was carried through the mystery schools. Most of it is based off the ancient mystery school of Hermeticism, instituted through the Kabbalion. this is what they follow. This is very likely. You see it in the mystery schools. You can see it in things like the Theosophical Society that was brought up. You can see it in the Golden Dawn. Okay, you can see it through all the principles of Hermeticism. These are mystery schools. It appears as though the true information has been carried by the elites throughout the years. It's been obscured from the average plebe, all right? And they presented us with a religion, a cosmology, an educational system, and a history that appears to be completely made up and instituted for control and deception. That's the sad reality. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning. Most people cannot grasp the magnitude of such a deception. So in the face of information that contradicts the reality that's been presented to them, they will reject it because they are not prepared to face it, because the information challenges their entire paradigm, their worldview, the lens through which they see this world. Our very identities are based on the deception, on the conditioning. To embrace the things that we're talking about tonight challenges one's identity, the foundational way that they view themselves in this realm. It's too hard. It's too hard for people to let go. So they will abandon logic and they will emotionally cling to the fantasy that's created for them, because the consequences of opening oneself up to the truth is too difficult for almost everybody. It's proclaimed by the so-called authorities, and it's placed into our consciousness from the earliest age that we can even view anything. The earliest cartoons, TV shows, school, it's all about evolution, dinosaurs, solar system. These things were presented to us at such a young age. We presuppose them as fact, when the reality is they're nothing other than belief. They just present a time frame that's so great that it just boggles your mind. It's the same thing they do with the astronomy. They just give you these stars that are so far away, trillions of miles away, multiple light years away, that it just boggles your mind. If you can get the mass of humanity to believe in something that contradicts their experience, it contradicts their entire reality, you can get them to do anything. If you can convince a bunch of people that they're moving when you obviously know you're not moving, you then have a society ripe for control.